there is nothing but God. It doesn't matter what it is that you want. It already exists because there is nothing but God. If you are feeling emotionally attached, this is what you're telling yourself to your desire, and you're thinking and telling yourself that that's why you don't have it, and you're trying to figure out why this thing that you desire is not here yet. This is what I hear a lot of people say. This video is going to answer several questions. I have been contemplating on this video for some days now because I really wanted to put in several things into this one video. And this is going to be, when you see what I'm about to show you, it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life, so you once and for all understand why Dr. Joseph Murphy said there is nothing but God. That is including you. Welcome, my name is Rose. Welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you can go to TheRoseyLife.com. And I also wanted to make an announcement that there is no more Rosey Life course in community. I made a decision to put a pause on that. And because I am working on several other things that I'll be announcing shortly, in addition to the Rosey Life Platinum program that starts up again in July. You already know what to do. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to me. I'll add you to that list where I send out the information on that very soon. Okay, but there is no more Rosey Life course in community. That's why you won't see a link for it. It won't be on my website anymore. So everything is being transitioned over in members. I have some announcements I'm going to make for the membership channel coming up soon. There's going to be some changes, some additions to the Rosey Life membership channel. So stay tuned for that, coming really soon. Okay, so let's get to this video. I'm going to start this off with, and I wish I would have remembered the name of this person, that I've seen it several times with different people describing how is it that I can have what I want. And the answer always is because I am one with everything. And I am one with everything, or I am God, and God is everything. God is in everything. And we understand this and hear this, that it's simultaneously that God exists in all things, including you and me and everything that you desire. And that oneness, that unity, is why there's only that one love, and fulfillment is all there is. But yet people still are like scratching their heads going, I don't get it. So this visual was very impactful for me, and I wanted to share it with all of you here. I don't remember I've seen it from a couple different people. It's been a minute, but I don't remember to give them credit. However, I wanted to show you here. So, in the beginning, in the first chapter of the Bible, in the beginning in Genesis, it says, in the beginning, God. There was God. So in order for God to manifest things, to have things, there was no other matter or source other than God. God is all that was and is and will be. So how did God create the sun and the moon and the stars and people and dogs and cats and birds and oceans and everything, right? Because there was nothing but God. So what was God going to use to create things? It's not like said, oh, I see a hammer and some materials over there. Let me start building stuff. No, there was nothing. There was nothing but God. So in order for God to manifest things that he desired to be in existence, including me, you, everything, God was himself creating things of himself. He's the only matter. God's the only energy. That one source, one power actually became things. So God, just because something else was created doesn't mean that it's still not God. It's still 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 God, and it's still God. It doesn't matter how many little pieces it becomes. It's still God. It's still God becoming itself in different things. It's still God becoming itself in many, many, many little things. But just because the little things become so tiny, right? Because God becomes a little kitty cat, a dog, right? God becomes a little person or a tree. Just because the things, there's so many things, does not mean that inside of each one of those things, God is in it. But we have this idea that God's this one big thing and that all these little things are separate from it. No, no. God itself became all things. And in each one of these little things is it's not a piece of God in these little things, but in each little piece, the all of God, all power of God has to be inside each one of these things because God itself is in each of these little things. So it's not that God dispersed itself and there's a 1% of God in here and 1.5% of God in here. It's like the holograph, right? That every little particle contains all. If you look inside this, you'll see nothing but God. If you look inside of this, you see nothing but God. And that is how we all are. If you look inside of me, there's nothing but God. If you look inside of yourself, there is nothing but God. And that God power, that source, is what manifests itself. So God continues to express itself in different forms. And the judgment is with the person, with you, your perception, your free will. You judge things as good or bad. But no matter if you judge them as good or bad, guess what? It's still God. There is nothing but God. So it's God expressing itself in infinite forms. Whether you call them big or little, it doesn't matter. It's all God. But remember, it's all one God. It's still the one source. So that's why you are connected to all your desires. That's why everything that you want is connected to you, because it is you. It's all one. Just because it became dispersed in little pieces of like people and things and object doesn't mean that the all of God doesn't exist in those things. It's not fragmented God. It's not dissected God. It's the all of God in all things. So that's why everything is within you and that there is nothing but God. And why is this important? Because when you think about your desire, whether it's a person, a car, a house, money, or whatever, God is in those things. So God's not going to deny itself of itself. It would be like, I'm going to make this thing and I'm going to deny myself because that thing is itself. Do you see? God's not going to deny himself what he made because what he made is him. There's no separation between what you want and your desires. So it is only your story and belief that you create. So anything that's outside of I'm whole and complete is actually optional. I will go even further to say it's a lie because you are whole and complete. If you're whole and complete because of who you really are, then what is it that you need? That's why I've made several videos now about, in the shorts and in my long form video last time, about what is it that you need if you're everything. It's just you telling yourself that you're missing something. Now, I want to segue this into people are more used to being dissatisfied and unhappy and complaining and whining about something, right? Almost like I saw this one lady talk on a TikTok. She's like, people want something to fuss about. right? People actually, oh no, it was on a new show on Fallout. If you guys have seen that game, it's off a video game, but it's a new TV show. It's so good. But she says in an episode, she says, people always want something to fuss about. And that's it, because we think that life is hard, and we think that life is not always going to satisfy you, and that you can't always be happy, and that's not realistic. Now, I wanted to bring this up because I have seen a lot of law of attraction people, like clients that have studied law of attraction and different teachers in law of attraction, and they come to me and they're tired of trying to feel good. And what I'm referring to is not that. It's that feeling good is not something that you try to make yourself feel good, something that you do an activity to make yourself feel good, or you try to convince yourself to make yourself feel good. What I think that is misinterpreted many times with the law of attraction community, because teachers like Abraham Hicks, who are amazing, right? I think the message gets watered down sometimes, in that what she's talking about and what teachers in law of attraction are talking about is feeling good is much bigger than just a feeling of, let me feel happy, let me go paint my car or the wall or whatever, that'll make me happy, right? It's not about these temporary fleeting things, going on a vacation, those are great and all, but if you're trying to feel happy with those things so that you then manifesting, you're missing the point. So I wrote on here about alignment. This is more law of attraction stuff, okay? You guys, I studied this too for a long time, all right? And before I found law of assumption. And to me, law of attraction it's a complement it complements all the other laws like law of assumption. However, to me, law of attraction left me feeling like I still wasn't in charge. It was just still me constantly trying to feel good, instead of understanding much bigger than this, who I am, who we all are. We're God. We're not just here to try to feel good all the time so that we can have what we want. It's law of assumption takes law of attraction up, infinite notches above it, and understanding that you are God, that your awareness is God. And so alignment, though, and feeling good, that's what we hear, right? That you want to be aligned, and that feeling good is key. And that feeling good is alignment, okay? But that is just equivalent, right? It's just different wording to I am fulfilled, creation is finished, I am satisfied. That's what feeling good is. It's not about feeling good like, okay, let me go distract myself and go out to dinner, and let me go distract myself and buy myself a pair of shoes, or go out with my buddies because I'm feeling sad. Let me go make myself feel good constantly. You're just chasing a feeling good instead of remembering that feeling good really is satisfaction, or AKA fulfilled, that you are everything, that you already have everything, that you don't need anything. You don't need anything on the outside to fulfill you, because you are already fulfilled, that you're already satisfied. So it's like, so you are satisfied, whole, complete. You're missing nothing. You're one with all desires. There's no separation. I am source and only cause. I am God. All of those terms, this is where that alignment and feeling good comes from. So going in more into law of assumption gets deeper into it, really dives deeper into what this is. And it's really, you're saying that you are already fulfilled, that you are already whole, that you are lacking nothing. So trying to chase good feelings and good thoughts is not what is being suggested here at all. It's a recognition of who you are, that you are satisfied, that you're whole and complete, and that you don't need anything. That's the lie. That's the lie, that I and many people were bought into and thinking that if I have the person, the house, the money, the career, I live in the right city, I have the right car, that those things will bring me happiness, that those things will bring me joy. And they will temporarily until you get used to it, and then you will be unused to it, and then they will not feel good anymore. You'll just get used to it. And I'm going to give you a funny example that I've been using with my clients. And what I mean by this is that how you get used to it is, like I bought, have a big jar, a glass jar, and I bought all these little bite-sized candy bars, and I filled it up with all my favorite candies in there. And I do this on purpose because I like chocolate and I have a little sweet tooth. However, if I don't do that, all I do is constantly think about how I want it. And so I'll run to the store and then I will go buy a bunch of candy and I'll do that more often. But if I just have it sitting there in a jar right in front of my face, I know I can have it whenever I want to. And I usually eat less because I have it sitting there in front of me. So my son comes over and he sees the candy jar and he's like, "Ooh, yeah," right? And he sees all the different chocolate and he's like hitting them up. And I'm like, cool. But then guess what? After he's here for a few hours or he comes over the next time, he looks at the candy and he keeps walking by it because he's like, oh yeah, like he might have a piece, but it wasn't like when I first filled it up. So no matter what the desire is that you think you want, that's going to give you some kind of feeling of security, even if it's money, if it's security or feeling financial freedom or whatever it is that you think you want, a person, a career, whatever it is, whatever you think you want, that you think you're going to get something from that, you're going to get it. And if you can't feel happy, fulfilled, satisfied right now without those things, you think that those things are going to give you satisfaction? No, it'll be those desires, those manifestations, money, a person, car, whatever, house, those things will dwindle and you'll still be left unsatisfied, unfulfilled, not feeling whole, feeling like something's missing, feeling like you're not happy, that it's never enough. Everything that you desire is not meant to satisfy you. Everything you desire is only meant for you to play with, to have fun with. Desires are for play and for fun, not for you to feel like they're the end-all be-all of your life. You are the satisfaction. It doesn't matter how difficult things may seem right now. If you still look at money or a person as the answer to everything, you'll forever chase the money and you'll manifest money. You'll get some things that you want, but you'll be back into the same position where you'll be chasing money again. You'll be chasing something outside of you again, and you'll never feel satisfied. And that is what most people are used to. It's nothing wrong with you. It's most people are used to being unsatisfied. Okay, so stick with me because this is going to really tie in towards the end. Okay, so that's more law of attraction-y, right? The alignment and feeling good. But really, it's saying feeling good is being satisfied, whole, and complete. And that's why there's so much emphasis on alignment and feeling good. Alignment is knowing that you are first cause, that you are God, that there is no one else thinking, assuming, choosing, deciding in your reality, that you're aligned with that knowing, acceptance of that knowing. This is not a feeling. And then feeling good is that satisfying that I don't need anything. I don't need anything outside of me. I'm good. I am whole and complete. I'm all set. I'm all good. And it's acceptance of that. And if you keep looking to the outside to get something to fulfill you within, back again to what I was saying, you'll forever be chasing the carrot. So law of assumption is saying I can assume anything that I want and become it by remembering I am already fulfilled with all. I don't need anything. I'm already fulfilled with everything. And I went into detail about this video, my last video that I made, the long video that I made like, I don't know, like a week or two ago, about you don't need it to let go of that needy feeling, because that's a lie. It doesn't matter what it is that you want, whether it's health or money or a person. You'll justify it by saying, no, this is important. There's a deadline. There's this. It's a lie. You don't need it. You already have it. And you can see things shift so fast by the acceptance of you not needing anything, that you are not a beggar. And it's so funny. I heard somebody say, you are the head, not the tail here. So start acting like the head at the table of your life. You are the head. You are not the table. You're not the tail, right? You are what is calling all the shots. So it feels good to know you are the only one creator in your reality. That feels good. It feels good to know that there's no one else in your reality that can think, choose, assume, nothing. Think about that. I think people know they say these things, but you don't let these sit with you. Let this sit with you for a minute, right? That in my reality, no one else gets to think, choose, assume. This is my reality, and I'm the only one deciding here. No one can decide what I experience. No one gets to decide for me. I'm the only one in charge here. If you would just let yourself meditate with that, that just means lying in bed with your eyes open or closed when you wake up in the morning or at night. Just let that sink in instead of saying, but what about this? But what about this? How do I apply it to this? No. Pause. Just stick with this. I'm the only one that gets to choose and think and assume and decide in my reality. There's no one else but me choosing. Just let yourself sink with that every single day without asking questions on top of it. And do it on repeat. Just like contemplate it, like let it sink in instead of just like, but what about this? But just let it sink in, okay? It's not about making yourself feel positive and happy 724, because I've already talked about that in so many of my videos, that is like ridiculous, even trying to feel positive and happy all day long, okay? There's nothing wrong with feeling positive and happy, don't get me wrong, right? But is it a cover-up for how you feel inside? Are you trying to make yourself feel happy? Are you trying to make yourself have positive thoughts about everything? Are you flipping thoughts? Are you flipping everything? You flipping beliefs, flipping thoughts, flipping feelings? Like that's trying. It's not about that, right? Because those are temporary feelings. Those are temporary thoughts. They're not the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are is you are the source of joy. You're the source of peace. You're the source of it. So why do you have to try to be happy when you're the source of it? All you have to do is choose to be joyful. And that's not a fake smiley face trying to be all giddy and trying to go on vacations and buy yourself stuff and go whatever it is that you try to fakely do. It's like that fake it till you make it. Well, how long has that been working for you? Because I've worked with a lot of people and I've done it myself where that never brought any manifestation in. Why? Because you're still not seeing yourself as the source. You're thinking that you have to feel good to manifest something when that was never required of any of us. We're the source of all of it. So we don't have requirements. We don't have conditions of any kind ever. So it's not about that. It's feeling good is who we already are. We're remembering we are the good in the feeling. We're the good. When you say feeling good, you're the reason, you're the good in the ability to feel good. Without you, you couldn't feel good. You're the reason. You are the source of the good in feeling good. You get that? You're the source of it. So you don't have to make yourself and try to make yourself feel happy, try to be positive all the time. You are the cause of that good. That's what you want to remember, is that you're the cause of the good in all of your life. Not just feeling, but you're the cause of the good financially, romantically, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of it. You're the cause of it. That's what you want to put your awareness, your attention, your focus on, is that I am the cause of it. And so feeling bad is not natural, but yet, this is something that is very normalized. That feeling bad is natural, and that you expect things not to work out. You expect the other shoe to drop. You expect that it's not normal to feel good all the time. But do you see, so feeling bad is not natural, right? But we are more used to that. And I say that. And so when I was, you guys know that I am a former psychotherapist. And even when I taught, I was a professor, and I taught grad students who were becoming clinical counselors. And one of the things that I taught them, because you had to memorize all of the different diagnoses in this DSM-5. And I remember one of the depression, right? There is like major depressive disorder, there's moderate depressive disorder, and then there is just depression. But then there was another one, and it was like a low-level functioning depression, and which I remember teaching and telling them, the students, that a lot of people have this and they don't know they have it. But what I nicknamed that one is because they can still go to work, they can still function at parties, they can be in relationships, they can do all kinds of things, right? But there's this low level of this constant feeling down. And I told them, I said, think of Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh, and how Eeyore would walk around with a cloud over his head and his head down. But he would put on the party hat, he'd show up to the party, he'd talk to Pooh and Piglet and talk to every Tigger. He would walk around and do whatever shenanigans he'd show up, right? But he always had this low level ho-hum, right? And I would give them like little analogies like that so that they could memorize the different diagnoses. Now, why am I bringing this up is because this is what I noticed. A lot of people, and this was me too, you guys, that I had this low level unhappiness. And I noticed that a lot of people have this. It's like, it's not unhappiness, it's they're used to not being satisfied. Like, this is the baseline of where most people exist. They are coming from this baseline of feeling not satisfied. And not so. What happens is, though, when you win some money, when you get a new job, when you graduate from school, when you go on vacation, when you meet someone romantically, when you make a new best friend, all of these things give you a little spike of like feeling good, right? That feels good, like a little shot in the arm, because before you're just so used to being not satisfied and just constantly something around in your life to complain about, right? And then you get this cool thing that happens in your life. Well, then you're so happy, you're just like a different person temporarily, because your manifestations are not ever supposed to bring you any source of anything, right? So then that thing temporarily brings you some satisfaction, right? But then you begin to worry that this thing might leave, that the money might leave, that the person might leave, that you might get fired from your job, that you might lose investments, that you might, all of these things begin to worry you, that you'll lose it, that it's too good to be true, that you're up here. So people say that they're emotionally attached to that desire, that they're emotionally attached to the person, the money, the vehicles, the career, whatever it is, that's why they can't manifest it, right? But really, what I see is a lot of people are emotionally attached, not to the thing. You're emotionally attached, not all of you, but many of you. And if it resonates with you, do it. If it doesn't, then keep going. But many people are emotionally attached to not wanting to go back and being unsatisfied. They'd rather hold on to the little bit of spark of satisfaction they got from that thing or person. They're emotionally attached. They're afraid to ever go back to not being satisfied. So they hold on to their dear life for the desire, for whatever it is that they want. And they hold on to it with a death grip, thinking that and only that will bring them joy and satisfaction. Because before, it was boring, dull, very little excitement. So then you get really hung up on this desire that you want. But understand, this is only happening because you have this habit of operating from this non-satisfied baseline, right? So being unsatisfied, my question is, what would it be like if I were always satisfied? And I wrote that down. So taking it from this unsatisfied baseline, right? That's what we thought life was like. That you're lucky if something good happens to you, and I'm just a little squirrel trying to get a nut in the world, trying to get a piece of the pie, trying to get a place at the table, and that you're competing and fighting with others and for all of this stuff, for whatever it is that you want, because you think that this is life. No, that's incorrect. I'm here to tell you, if you didn't get the memo, I'm giving it to you now. That your baseline, all of our baseline, at minimal, is to always be satisfied, to always feel fulfilled. That is your minimal baseline. That is that minimal that we're here to experience, to always have everything, to have that satisfaction. And from there, think about this. If you're manifesting from a minimal baseline of always feeling and knowing you're satisfied, and now think of your desire. What the hell is that thing or person going to give you if you already are fulfilled, if you're already satisfied? You can still have that thing, but that thing can't give you anything if you're already satisfied. That money, that person, that car, that job, that house, that whatever it is that you want, it can't give you anything if you're already satisfied. So it's a simple shift into remembering I've been operating from this place of feeling like I'm not satisfied and I'm just any little morsel of anything that I can get. No. You are a child of the living God. There is nothing but God. So do you see how that non-satisfied baseline doesn't make any sense? Because you are God. God's always operating from satisfaction, wholeness, fulfilled. That's who we all are. We are God. So we're not operating from lack. We're not beggars. We're not little peasants. We are here with God. We are one with Him and He's in us. So there's nothing but fulfillment. There's nothing but satisfaction. And I invite you to contemplate, meditate on that what would it be like if I were always satisfied? And if you start thinking about stuff, manifestations, people, whatever, push that off to a second. I'm inviting you to think about what would it be like if I just always was satisfied. I was always happy or joyful. And even if I felt sad momentarily, there would still be this, instead of this underlying Eeyore sadness, there would be an underlying a knowing of satisfaction, and I could see the sadness, but underneath it, I know that there's only satisfaction, and what I'm experiencing is temporary. Do you see the difference? So like, ask yourself, what would it be like if I was just always satisfied? I fulfilled. That's another word, right, that you can use. If you don't like satisfied, you can use fulfilled. If I was always fulfilled, and I could experience things like on top of here from that baseline, or I can have the baseline of feeling non-satisfied, lack, struggling, and then trying to manifest from this baseline. Do you see the difference? So you get to choose which identity or baseline. That's all that I'm saying. Baseline means identity. Who are you identifying? Are you identifying as God, as fulfilled, or are you identifying as somebody that still needs things, wants things, so that they can then be okay, so that then they can feel good, and then they'll get to the God stuff later. Do you see? So I intend this video was very helpful for many of you that are watching, and thank you again for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to The Rosey Life, and thank you guys so much for being a member on the YouTube channel. I'm going to make an announcement over there really quick, and then I'm going to announce it over here as well. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you all soon. All right, bye, because you're freaking amazing.